So last year, I did this to him, and now it's his turn to do it to me. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and as always guys, I am Andrew. Today guys, we are joined by Nico. Nico's Book Reviews. Now, you might notice the setup looks a little different. That's because I'm at Nico's place and we're filming in his setup. But we will return to the regular location going forward. But before we get into what this video is, don't talk. You're not allowed to talk yet. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel, as it does help the channel grow. And you can check the description box down below for links to all of my social media, including information about the Discord, Patreon, what have you. It's all there for you to peruse. Now, this is Nico. Nico is my booktube brother and one of my best friends in the entire earth. And Nico has selected some books that he is going to try and convince me to read. We're probably going to do this bracket style, and then we'll see what comes out on top. Before we get into that, of course, I will have Nico's channel linked in the description box down below. Please do me a favor and yourself a favor and go over to his channel and subscribe. He's got some amazing book reviews and some awesome content. And this channel would not exist without Nico bullying me into creating it. That said, let's take it away! Yeah, you can talk now.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to make sure. All right. So I've selected 16 books, which is harder than you would think, because Andrew has read a ton of books that I've read, and so like there were some easy ones here, but then I'm like, what do I even pick? And so yeah, so we'll start. I'm going to do this fairly random. We'll start at the top with a couple of short ones. We have Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer, which is one I actually just recently read. This is a super weird sci-fi with like psychological horror and thriller elements here, where a group of people are going into Area X, where there's some strange things going on there, is kind of what we have with this one. It's the first of a trilogy. And we have Servant Mage by Kate Elliott, because I'm always trying to get you to read more Kate Elliott. This is a novella, and this one came out before Keeper 6, which is the big one. But This is a world where like magic is like really, really regulated, and so we get Servant Mage, the person in there, and it's a person who ends up getting kind of involved in the rebellion that's trying to overthrow the other side that had taken over. But things aren't quite as simple as they seem there either. So we've got. Which one are you gonna pick?
Okay, so I was here when Murphy talked you into reading that one, and she was super excited.
This is true.
At the same time, I do like Kate Elliott's writing, and I have been wanting to try Kate Elliott again. This is actually a really hard decision to make because I want to read them both.
You can only read one of them.
Yeah, I know.
No,
I know.
You'll never. Whichever one you pick, this is a binding decision.
Original, beautiful, maddening, and magnificent. You know what? Like I've heard the name Jeff Vandermeer. We're gonna select this one.
That's fair. That's Murphy. This is your fault, but
we'll blame that on Murphy.
All right. Okay. So that's the weirdest combination ever.
Are we gonna do it? No, you're just gonna do it randomly.
No, we'll keep it random. This is entirely random. I was thinking about changing some, but this is the strangest one, so we're gonna go with it. So we have The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri. I forgot what book I was holding for a minute. So this one,
I do that all the time.
This one is. It's actually, I commented that people tend to be surprised when I say I actually really liked this book. It's not a romance, okay? Just because it was written by a woman doesn't make it a romance. There is some romance in it, but it wasn't even enough to bother me, and I don't like romance a whole lot. But this is interesting. It's kind of inspired by India, but it involves this group of people who were from this kind of like old religion that involved plants, and they go through this like weird ritual that involves being somewhat imbued in it. And there's also this magical rot that is coming and slowly turning people into plants.
Ooh, I like that.
And this is all around where there's the big empire is trying to kill the last bit. So you have the main character who is part of the old kind of religion, and then the other character who's a part of the empire. And there's a lot more to it than that, but there's kind of the quick version. And then we have The Chronicles of Prydain by Lloyd Alexander, which is a children's fantasy series from the 60s. Which actually held up pretty well. This is one of my like childhood favorites that I just know that you haven't read.
But you have bought me a copy of it.
I was to say, yeah, so you do have a copy of it now. But it's kind of classic fantasy. It's Welsh inspired, including some really Welsh things like Fluter Flam is the name in here.
Fluter
Flam. And there were less vowels than you would think in that.
I would like you to say that 5 times fast. 5 times. Ready, set, go.
But Fluter Flam, Fluter Flam, Fluter Flam, Fluter Flam, Fluter Flam, Fluter Flam.
Comedy gold. Love it.
But yeah. This should maybe be a good one when your kids get older to read out loud. But it's kind of classic fantasy with like some like lessons in it about growing up in there as well. But it's pretty good actually. But what do we got here?
I'm actually leaning towards the Jasmine Throne.
Just
because I like ethnic sort of fantasy that's non-European style, and so that appeals to me.
The world here is really, really good, and that's why although I have some complaints, I love the world so much. That's why I liked it so much. So very. We're sticking with the most unhinged ones here.
What the crap?
Oh gosh! So we have Willful Child, and this is actually
you stole from my own book pile.
I did. The second one is something he just purchased. I had it, but I grabbed it from his. We have Willful Child by Stephen Erickson. We're gonna pretend this is the first book, which is the first book starts as kind of like a Star Trek parody. It is just like off the wall kind of zany humor, and the audiobooks for this are fantastic. It's McLeod Andrews, I think, and are really, really fun. So just zany, crazy, funny, sci-fi kind of humor, just parodying sci-fi genre in general. And then we have a children's series from the 60s. What are the odds of that? Not necessarily as much of a children's series, but we have Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin, which this is his copy that he actually purchased whilst here.
Yeah.
I have the big one back there. I didn't want to get it out. So
that's fair.
And this one, so I know you've been thinking about, and it is, the writing is a little bit dated, but this is also actually something from my childhood I read when I was little, and it just really captures the imagination with it's this archipelago of all these different islands. It's a young boy who becomes a mage and kind of learns about the world, and so a lot of really good stuff here too. A lot of nostalgia for me, and so yeah.
Well, okay, so I just purchased this book, which means I have the intent to at least try it. So you failed the assignment because the assignment was to get me to read something that. Anyway, we're gonna go with this one, mainly because I want to try it because it sounds funny. I like funny sci-fi.
The audio is on script, so
it's called Everrand. I'm just kidding.
I
don't care. I'm not that invested.
It's called Scribd. It's called Twitter. I'm not changing. Okay, I'm not changing.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh, this is perfect. These are actually I'm liking these. So we have.
He thinks this is perfect. I already know my answer.
You probably do, and I think I do too. But I'm gonna say both of them because we have the Graveyard Book and Priest of Bones, which is just funny to me. So we have Graveyard Book, which is kind of like the all ages, like you could read younger, but about a boy who ends up being essentially growing up in a graveyard and being raised by the denizens of the graveyard. And there's a man that wants to kill him. And then we have Priest of Bones. This is Neil Gaiman. And then Peter McLean. Priest of Bones, which is a kind of like gang leader and his crew come back from the war and are trying to reclaim the territory in their city that they have lost. And then there's some other conspiracies going on here as well.
Graveyard Book.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I figured you were gonna pick that over the gangster ones, but some of these are just like I was trying to fill out a full 16 bracket, so like I know what he's gonna pick for the next one too, because I had to put this in for fun.
Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't.
Maybe, but just for fun, I put in the Sunlit Man because he's been complaining about Sanderson, and we passed this book at every bookstore we went to had this book. You didn't pick it up, but
and I didn't buy it once.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you know what this one is. It is Cosmere in the far future with a character from Stormlight. Is our main character here. That's kind of revealed over time, but interesting. It's a fast-moving, exploring a world. It's got some more of the sci-fi elements than other things seen here. So that is the book one. And then we have In the Eye of Heaven by David Keck, which is, I think, a super underrated, underappreciated series here. This is the first book. This is kind of gritty medieval fantasy. It's a little more low fantasy. There's not a ton of magic with it as well, but we follow a knight, Durant, who has no land, and so it kind of becomes knight errant and gets involved in some bigger things going on in the world. So what are we picking here?
You know what? Just to spite you, I'm picking the Sunlit Man.
You know you didn't want to pick that, but
I don't care. I'm picking the Sunlit Man because.
All right.
You're mean.
I'm just sticking with how they're set.
I hope you feel good about what you did to David Keck. You made me pick the Sunlit Man out of spite.
Check out David Keck. It's a good series.
You've been talking about that for years now.
I know. Actually, the first 2 books I found in a Goodwill, like probably, I don't know, 10 years ago. And I read them and they were pretty good. And it might not have been that long ago. And then I looked it up and like it'd been almost 10 years since the second book came out, and the third book was actually finally going to be coming out, so I'm like, this is perfect timing, so it worked. But up next, we have another really strange combination here, but we have The Warded Man and Curse of the Mist Wraith here. So, The Warded Man by Peter V. Brett, which might be a little bit dark for some of the things that you like, which it was, this has some stuff I'm not a huge fan of in it as well, but the overall story and the world are just so interesting. It's this world that's kind of like overrun by demons, and once it gets dark, they come up from the core of the world, and slowly people are starting to find ways with wards to fight back against the demons. And then we have Curse of the Mist Wraith, which if you've ever heard me talk of any time recently, you probably know about, but the start of my my favorite series of all time, Wars of Light and Shadow by J.N.A. Wirtz. It's a beautiful start where we have 2 princes that are involved in prophecy and are supposed to defeat a Mist Wraith, although things are not even close to as simple as they may appear in this first book here. So we get two big worlds, very different in style for these 2. So I hope I've at least partially convinced you here.
I'm gonna do that one.
Yes.
I'm still looking at this though, but I'm gonna do that one.
Yeah. This Warded Man, that's one where I don't know if it'd be for you. It's
the time has come to stand against the knights. As darkness falls each night, the Corlings rise. Sorry.
The Corlings rise. That could I gotta write a song about Demon Cycle apparently. All right, I'm sold. All right, next up. Ooh, actually, I really like this one. This is kind of good because it's 2 series. Now, so we have The Black Prism, the first book, Lightbringer, and The Rune Lords by David Farland. I know you have read, I think, this first one before, but I didn't finish the series. So I just grabbed this. This is going to be a stand-in for whichever book if you don't restart here. But, so you already kind of know about this. Lightbringer by Brent Weeks, a series that it gets some flack for sure, but it's the magic system here is the big thing that pulled me in because it's involved in different kinds of light used in some really creative ways. Really, really cool magic system, but also a lot of really great character moments and characters in here. And over the 5 books, you really see them grow and do all kinds of different things as well. And then we have The Rune Lords by David Farland, which is one that's not talked about as much. Also has super cool magic system, which is based on endowments where you give like an attribute of yours to other people. It is incredibly fast-paced and has just amazing world building as well. So a lot of stuff going here. There are 7 books. 8 books? 8 books.
Well, 8th book isn't out yet.
Well, I said the very last one is either 8 or 9, which
I think it's 8.
Hopefully will come out, but there are 2 arcs, and I think that they're worth a read anyway. So
I have read Black Prism, and I do like Black Prism. Black Prism. I'm gonna go with the Rune Lords though, mainly because it's already on my immediate reading plans. Now I do have the audiobook for this one on my phone right now. I just haven't gotten around to restarting it. It's literally a series I was reading pre-BookTube, and then I discovered BookTube, and I got squirreled into hundreds of books later. I finished actually not long before BookTube, but Rune Lords audio is by one of my favorite narrators, Ray Porter. Yeah, and are all on Audible Plus. Ray Porter. So I have thoughts here, but I'm not gonna. Are you doing Brett Baker? Do you know that reference? That's what it sounded like. Okay. Anyway. Okay, last up then we have Curse of Chalian by Lois McMaster Bujold and Lord of a Shattered Land by Howard Andrew Jones. I might have mentioned this one a few times to Andrew here. Once or twice.
Maybe.
You mentioned it in passing.
So the Curse of Chalian is
Very quietly.
the first book in this world, which is the world of 5 gods. It's the only one I've read so far, but it's very good. Really great characters, and that pulls you in. And this is kind of a very politically focused thing. I think when you're in the mood for politics, but involves a knight who had been a slave, and he's finally escaped captivity and is coming back into the kingdom. And there's lots of plots and politics going on in said kingdom there as well. Really nicely written, great characters and politics. And we have Lord of a Shattered Land by Howard Andrew Jones, which is one I read fairly recently as well. This is like sword and sorcery, sword and sandals kind of thing. And this first book especially, it's very episodic, and there's all kinds of like, weird cosmic horror things that you might find in some of the other like old school authors and like that. Really, really great, fast-paced, nice episodic, great characters, and just super fascinating world and adventures here. So those are our 2. Wow, I thought you were going to not pick this one just to spite me. So Lord of a Shattered Land.
I thought I'd be nice. I'm a good friend.
Allegedly, he's going to be reading it soon. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Okay. So.
All right. Well, now we don't have to explain the books. Now you can just pit them against each other.
Yeah, so I'm going to turn this upside down. Let's play off screen here. So we have Jasmine Throne versus Servant Mage.
Didn't I choose Annihilation?
Did I put these in the wrong spot?
I think you put that one in the wrong spot. I think Annihilation went first.
Oh no.
And then you switched them. So I think it's only the first book that's
Hopefully.
flopped.
What's the daisy? So Annihilation.
Okay, Annihilation. Yeah, I think I went with Annihilation. I'm gonna go. This one.
Alright, that is a very short and good read. I'm going to make sure I put these on the right side this time.
Okay, so I chose Annihilation.
Alright, so we have Willful Child or the Graveyard Book. These are very different. Both of these have been really different.
Man,
Actually, both Annihilation and Jasmine Throne involve weird plant things, so these 2 aren't super similar. Graveyard Book, okay.
I'm going to go with the Graveyard Book.
I'm a little surprised at that, actually.
So am I.
I thought you were gonna. It is a really good read. We have The Sunlit Man or Curse of the Mist Wraith.
Get that crap out of here.
I say there's only one correct answer in that particular comparison, and then we have The Rune Lords or Lord of a Shattered Land.
Rune Lords.
Rude. I do love both. He just is. He knows I've been trying to get him to read Lord of a Shattered Land.
I'm planning already.
For too long.
I'm already planning on reading it.
That is fair. Coming up here soon. So, all right, we're on the final 4, people. The final 4. We have Annihilation or the Graveyard Book. Area X or a graveyard. Weird sci-fi or this one probably isn't magical realism. That's the other one. Annihilation. I'm gonna have the song stuck in my head again. There's a song called Annihilation by Fit for a King, which has been stuck in my head every time I look at the title of this. Welcome, Annihilation. Curse of the Mist Wraith or Rune Lords.
Rune Lords.
I had a feeling that might be coming. This one's a lot more fast paced. I do want you to read Curse of the Mist Wraith, but I know it might take some getting used to.
Curse of the Mist Wraith, if I try and force it,
it's
not gonna go well. That's the only reason I went with Rune Lords. So we're down to our final 2, which is Annihilation or the Rune Lords. And
so we have very epic fantasy and then very sci-fi. So two sides of the question. Annihilation.
I'm gonna go with Annihilation.
All
I'm
right.
just gonna take this home with me.
No, that's my copy.
That's a darn shame, isn't it? Anyway, I selected Annihilation. This is one for me to read in the next month or 2, and I'm going to hopefully enjoy this one. I've heard it's very interesting. I've heard a lot of people enjoy this, I'm excited to read this, despite the fact that what has it been, like 6 months, 8 months, something like that. The last time we did this, he was supposed to read the Ember Blade. Guess what? He hasn't read yet. It's the Ember Blade. Much to my
it's still
hurt
still on the list.
Nah, I'm just giving you crap.
Maybe in May.
Maybe.
I got it out this month, and I didn't get to it, so.
Well, this is the winner, and that is all we've really got for you today, guys. So, like I said at the beginning of the video when he wasn't allowed to speak, please check in the description box down below for links to his channel. Make sure you subscribe, because Nico is amazing, and like I said, this channel would not exist without him. But that's all I've really got for you today, guys, so till next time, peace out! Stay magical. Bye. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons. Thank you for supporting my passion and my hobby.